The team at Technology for Hotels knows how busy you are, so we've created this concise briefing to keep you up to date on key happenings in the hotel industry. Let's dive in.
Our mission today is really to cut through the noise and deliver some actionable insights. We're tracking three critical movements defining hospitality right now,
Okay.
where luxury investment is consolidating, particularly across the Asia-Pacific.
Okay.
Then there's the specific data signaling Vietnam's dramatic rise.
Right.
And maybe most critically, the existential challenge that artificial intelligence presents to the entire hotel discovery and booking process.
That's a powerful stack of sources covering everything from five-star launches all the way to search algorithms. Okay, let's unpack this. Maybe starting with the high-end property shifts. It shows exactly where the luxury dollar is landing its anchor.
Sounds good.
And if you're charting must-visit luxury debuts, it seems like Sydney is currently hogging the spotlight.
It really is. I mean, it's a significant marker for the market. The debut of the InterContinental Sydney Coogee Beach. That's important
Why that one in particular?
because it claims a very specific and I'd say very rare title. Sydney's only true luxury beachfront hotel. This isn't just a refresh or a rebrand. It's a newly defined standard for coastal luxury in that city.
And the design details are what's making the headlines, right? I saw it was designed by Woods Bagot, 198 rooms and suites.
Yes, but the elements everyone is buzzing about are those specific ocean-facing luxury suites.
The ones with the outdoor bathtubs.
Exactly, featuring wraparound balconies and, crucially, those outdoor bathtubs. The word is that these are instantly some of the city's most coveted, sexiest new accommodations.
That kind of detail, I mean, that's what defines the experience and justifies the price point.
It does. And the general manager, Linda Lampier, she framed it perfectly. She said it fills a major gap in the market. It blends that refined coastal lifestyle with the dependable global standard of an intercontinental service.
Plus the food and beverage offering.
Oh, absolutely. They're immediately establishing it as a dining destination with Shutter's Restaurant and Bar, and they secured the Australian flagship for renowned chef Rick Stein. That instantly drives traffic far beyond just the hotel guests.
And we're seeing that strategic high-end pivot extend across the rest of Australia. Melbourne, in particular, seems to be focusing less on sheer volume and more on, what, cultural integration.
That's a great way to put it. Melbourne is undergoing a very targeted transformation of its cultural precincts. You have the Hannah Saint Hotel by TFE, for example.
The new one in Southbank.
Right, a new 188-room boutique luxury property deliberately positioned as a key component in that massive $1.7 billion transformation of the Melbourne Arts Precinct. It's a purposeful integration of hospitality into culture.
And then there was also that strategic move with the Brighton. That was formerly a Novotel, but after a multi-million-dollar renovation, it did a hard pivot to the upscale McGallery by Accor brand.
It did.
Is that just about maximizing revenue, or does it signal a deeper market trend?
I think it signals a deep structural belief that the market can sustain a higher average daily rate, and that guests are craving more specialized experiences. The key feature driving that pivot is the introduction of Amos, a brand new Mediterranean-inspired beach club. A shift like that is an immediate statement. It says the target demographic has moved from the business traveler to the experience-seeking luxury consumer.
And beyond the full-service hotels, we're seeing serious capital flow into the service suite and lifestyle niche. This is for longer-stay guests or people who want more of a community feel.
That's a massive growth area. And the Ascot Limited is really capitalizing on it with its Life brand. They're launching Life Melbourne CBD, a 90-room hotel, for a December 2025 opening.
And this is building on the success of their other properties.
Directly on the clear success they've seen at Life Collingwood and Life Bondi Junction, yeah.
So what defines that brand success? It sounds like it's more than just, room amenities.
What's fascinating is their core philosophy. They call it the social living ethos and their #LifeGoesLocal strategy. It's centered entirely on curated guest experiences, communal spaces, strong local partnerships. It intentionally moves away from that sterile, transactional hotel model.
And Pan Pacific is doing something similar.
A similar expansion, yes. They're bringing 169 service suites online with PARKROYAL Service Suites Manila Bay in early 2027. So this model is proven, and it's expanding rapidly.
Of course, it's important to remember that investment isn't only about grand new builds. Sometimes it's about strategic revitalization just to keep pace. The Sebel Melbourne Flinders Lane just completed a $5.1 million glow-up.
And that might sound like defensive spending, but it's absolutely critical. That refresh covered all 60 suites, upgrading them with a contemporary urban chic design, modernized bathrooms.
Right.
They also revitalized the public areas, the lobby, making it a more welcoming check-in, adding an electric fireplace. It's crucial for older assets to maintain their value against newer competitors.
But is 5.1 million really enough to fundamentally change a guest experience? Or is it just, like I said, defensive spending?
It's a strategic choice. For a service suite property, maintenance and modernity are key to retaining those high-yield, long-term guests. What I find more compelling here, though, is the sustainability layer.
Oh.
They didn't just dump all the old inventory, they donated all the pre-loved furniture to local charities, emphasizing community reuse, avoiding landfill waste. That kind of conscious investment in brand values, which is becoming more and more transparent to travelers, often signals long-term stability.
Speaking of long-term stability, let's pivot to analyzing those capital flows. We are seeing some truly massive portfolio consolidation plays with a heavy focus on high-growth markets in APAC.
And when we connect this back to the bigger picture, the scale of the Singapore Land Group acquisition is just staggering. They purchased a huge portion of the Marina Square complex,
Which included
major assets like the Pan Pacific Singapore, the PARKROYAL Collection Marina Bay, and the Mandarin Oriental Singapore.
wow, that's not just a collection of hotels. That's consolidating a huge chunk of prime Singapore waterfront real estate under one umbrella. What does that signal about their long-term confidence?
It signals incredibly high confidence in a mixed-use commercial strategy. The future plans indicate 3 new towers planned for that site, for service apartments, residential units, office space, and more hospitality.
So they're de-risking the investment.
Precisely. By bundling luxury hospitality assets with long-term high-value real estate like residential and office space, they effectively de-risk the entire portfolio. It points to a trend where owners are looking at higher cap rates for these vertically integrated assets.
And this movement of capital, it isn't just staying within Singapore.
Not at all. We saw JLL, New Zealand broker another significant regional sale. Auckland's Wynyard Quarter, including the Travelodge Hotel, sold to a Singaporean fund manager, RP Financial.
Okay.
This just confirms that continued strong appetite from capital sources in the region for stable, established assets in the Australian and New Zealand markets.
Meanwhile, if you look at a high-volume vacation market like Bali, the development there shows 2 very contrasting but equally strong investment approaches.
It's a fantastic study in market duality. On one hand, you have the Antia Hotel Bali Canggu, set for a 2027 opening under the Radisson Individuals brand.
Okay, so that's a classic branded development.
It is. It focuses on 116 serviced apartments, aiming for efficient, reliable returns in a known high-volume area.
And what's the contrast to that?
The contrast is the Lux Collective, which is focusing on Salt, a virgin beach, in the Karangasem region. It's slated for Q1 2028, only 84 rooms, and it's explicitly positioned as a high-end, eco-conscious resort. It shows the market can simultaneously support high-density, standardized branded products and highly specialized sustainable luxury experiences. Investors are betting on both.
We're also seeing established players using a rebrand to signal future moves. Amora Riverwalk Melbourne becoming Amora Riverwalk Melbourne.
That move is strategic. It signals the launch of their first 4.5-star contemporary offering, and it's clearly intended as a preview of bigger plans for the group as they move up the chain.
Right.
And, brands like Club Wyndham are investing heavily in deseasonalization, with that big refurbishment of their Shirakabaso Shikokogen property in Japan, trying to make it a year-round destination.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Let's look at the hard data. Where's the most aggressive growth actually happening? We have to talk about Vietnam.
Vietnam is demonstrating immense, sustained growth potential. The analysis from JLL, the outlook is extremely positive, especially in hubs like Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, and Da Nang.
Give me some perspective on the scale here.
Well, Vietnam's total hotel inventory now exceeds 185,000 rooms. That's spread across more than 1,500 hotels.
That's a substantial volume for a developing market, but what's the quality distribution like? Are they just building budget rooms?
That is the key insight. No.
Yeah.
The upscale and luxury segments account for a staggering 57% of that entire inventory.
57%. Wow.
That figure is not just growth. It's a clear statement that Vietnam is skipping the budget phase and aiming directly for the high-yield international traveler. It reflects a government strategy focused on high-spend tourism, not just sheer volume.
That concentration on high-end supply suggests massive confidence, but what are the infrastructure challenges that come with that kind of aggressive, top-heavy growth?
That's the critical friction point. Maintaining the luxury experience, from roads and power grids to specialized labor and supply chains, is hugely challenging at that pace. The high percentage of luxury rooms signals the market is demanding global operational standards
Which puts pressure on everything else.
on every service provider, and it requires a massive upskilling of the local labor force. It's a high-risk, high-reward environment.
Okay, moving from hard economic data to corporate buzz, we have to pause for a moment on the best headline we saw. Santa abseiling down the Sofitel Sydney.
It was brilliant CSR mixed with high-impact PR.
So what happened?
Sydney got this unexpected dose of festive cheer when Santa and his elves decided to rappel down the building's exterior. It was all to surprise children from the Royal Far West charity.
That's certainly one way to deliver a message. I saw they unfurled a massive Be Happy banner high above the city.
They did, and the celebration concluded with Santa delivering gifts and the children enjoying a silver service afternoon tea. It turns the hotel itself into a vehicle for genuine, memorable community engagement.
It gets visibility a press release could never achieve.
Exactly. It reinforces a brand image of warmth and community care, which aligns perfectly with modern traveler values. It moves CSR from a compliance checkbox to a genuine source of brand buzz.
Right. Finally, before we hit the tech section, we need to quickly track the movement of executive talent because strategic growth often follows the people who can execute those plans.
We've seen several notable strategic shifts recently. We should probably highlight Jason Ballard taking on the role of Hyatt's global brand leader for the Essentials portfolio.
Which is a huge high-volume segment for a major global brand.
Critical. And across the intersecting world of luxury travel, you have Katrina McAlpine moving to Managing Director A&Z with MSC Group, leading regional growth for their luxury cruise hospitality arm.
That makes sense, that synergy between high-end cruise and land-based hospitality.
And there are other key shifts supporting this APAC expansion. Hani Daher joining Millennium Hotels and Resorts as VP Operations A&Z, plus appointments like Mohammed Yusman at Hyatt Centric, Brian Wang at IHG, Anouk Guignard at Crown Resorts.
So companies are aggressively recruiting experienced leaders.
To support the complex, multi-site growth projects we just reviewed, yes.
Now let's pivot to the deep dive into technology. This is arguably the biggest impending shift. I'd even call it a threat facing the industry today.
I would agree.
First, there's the proactive investment response. Salter Brothers Hospitality launching their new booking platform, Worlds Apart, which is laying the groundwork for a major loyalty program in 2026.
That is the industry preparing its defenses. But the core operational battle is happening right now, in search.
Okay, let's unpack this. We all know AI is changing everything, but how exactly is it changing hotel discovery and booking at that fundamental search level?
It's fundamentally shifting the traveler's expectation from a list to an answer. We are moving away from traditional search results, where you sift through dozens of blue links, to large language models, LLMs, acting as highly informed concierges.
So what does that mean in practice?
When a traveler asks an AI assistant, "What's the best boutique hotel near the Melbourne Arts Precinct with a unique dining concept?" the AI engine doesn't return 10 OTAs and 4 hotel websites.
It often yields only 1 or 2 direct synthesized answers.
Precisely. And if your property is not in those 1 or 2 slots, you are effectively invisible to the modern traveler. This means traditional search engine optimization, SEO, which focuses on keywords and site structure, is rapidly becoming insufficient.
So what's the new thing?
Hotels now need to master what is being termed generative engine optimization, or GEO.
The AI is acting like a hyper-curator then, picking the single best expert source. Define GEO for us. What does it demand that SEO didn't?
Think of the AI less as an indexer and more as a sophisticated fact-checker or a knowledge manager. GEO demands an entirely new level of commitment to content quality and authority. To surface in these AI-driven results, a hotel's online presence must be built on content that is fresh, authoritative, trustworthy, and crucially, conversational.
Conversational. What does that look like in practice for a hotel website?
It means moving beyond static brochureware, the feature lists of pools and meeting rooms. The content has to demonstrate real expertise. For instance, if you are the InterContinental Coogee Beach, your content needs to be the definitive source for information about Coogee Beach.
So local history, surf conditions, dining guides.
Exactly. Neighborhood micro-narratives. You have to be the localized Wikipedia entry that the AI trusts enough to synthesize into a single confident answer. The AI is prioritizing true, deep knowledge over simple keywords.
This sounds like a massive advantage for the big chains that can afford huge content teams. How can a small boutique owner possibly compete with that demand for conversational expertise?
And that raises the core business challenge.
Hmm.
The fight for visibility just got much more focused and exponentially more content-intensive. Small properties cannot compete on volume,
So they have to compete on specialization.
on hyper-focus. They must become the single, undisputed online expert for their hyper-specific niche like the best pet-friendly stays in Collingwood. If they are general, they disappear. If they are definitive, they win that single AI answer.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener, running a hotel? The rise of GEO is challenging the entire ecosystem. It's forcing hotels to think of their website not as a transaction portal, but as a digital center of expertise.
It is.
Is this the single greatest existential challenge to OTA dominance we've seen since the mobile boom?
It absolutely has that potential. If the traveler goes directly to the AI for an answer, bypassing the list of links, they bypass the traditional OTA search funnel entirely. The LLMs are creating a massive consolidation of informational authority. If your brand doesn't create the content that the AI considers the single best answer, you will not appear.
So it requires a fundamental rethink of content strategy.
From being merely visible to becoming essential.
So to quickly summarize the key threads we've pulled from the sources, high-end expansion continues, with strategic investments consolidating major mixed-use portfolios. Asia-Pacific, especially Vietnam, with its 57% luxury inventory, is dominating development plans. And finally, the immediate need for hotels to completely overhaul their digital strategy to master generative engine optimization and survive the AI search revolution.
Which leads to our final provocative thought for you to consider. Given that AI favors expertise in conversation, how will this force hotels to fundamentally change their approach to creating content and defining their brand voice online? Will the rise of GEO finally kill the sterile, featureless-driven hotel website and usher in an era where hotels must be digital storytellers just to survive?
Finally, don't forget to check out the 5 Star Conversation podcast where Brennan Granger gets to talk with the leaders shaping the hospitality industry.